You don't always hear the moment love begins to die. There's no dramatic fight, no slamming doors. Sometimes, all it takes is silence. A silence that starts with fewer messages, fewer questions, fewer smiles. And by the time you notice, they've already begun to leave. Not with anger, not with blame, but with quiet footsteps and a heart that no longer expects anything from you. This isn't just about loss. It's about how easily we miss the signs. It's about the kind of pain that doesn't scream, because it's already accepted the truth. This is the story of a kind heart that walked away without ever slamming the door. You don't always notice when love starts to fade. There's no dramatic scene, no shouting match, no tearful goodbye. Sometimes, it starts in the smallest ways. A conversation that used to last for hours now ends in a few short replies. A face that used to light up when you walked in now barely lifts an eyebrow. They laugh a little less. They speak a little softer. And the things that once made them smile, they stop mentioning those altogether. But no one really sees it. Because there's no breakdown, no accusation. They don't say, "You hurt me." They don't scream, "I'm done." They just quietly adjust. They shrink their expectations. They stop asking where you're going or when you'll be back. They stop waiting for you to notice. Because deep down, they've already accepted that maybe you won't. And this is how it happens. One day, without even realizing it, they stop hoping. They stop expecting. And they begin to pull their love, bit by bit, back into themselves. Not out of spite, not out of pride, but out of quiet resignation. And the saddest part? Most people don't notice until it's already over. You think you'd notice when someone decides to leave, that they'd tell you, that they'd cry or yell or slam a door. But kind people don't leave like that. They don't announce their exit. They don't make a scene. They don't blame you, even if you gave them every reason to. Instead, they quietly begin to pull away. They still greet you in the morning. Still ask if you've eaten. Still smile, just enough to keep you from asking questions. But something has already shifted. Not loudly, not dramatically. Just undeniably. The trust they once placed in you so freely. It's no longer whole. A fracture has formed, and while you're busy thinking everything is fine, they're learning to let go. Not out of anger, but out of self-preservation. They begin to choose peace over explanation, distance over confrontation, acceptance over expectation. And before you know it, they're gone. Even if they're still standing right in front of you. The ones who leave quietly are often the ones who once loved the loudest. They hoped the longest, gave the most, held on the hardest. But eventually, even the kindest hearts get tired. Tired of waiting, tired of repeating, tired of giving without being seen. And when they finally walk away, they don't look back. The saddest part about losing someone kind is that you often don't realize it's happening. Not until it's already over. You look at them and say, "She's still smiling. He's still going to work. We still eat dinner together, don't we?" You assume everything's fine because they haven't complained, because they didn't cry, because they didn't leave. Yet. But what you didn't see was the moment their heart quietly stepped out of the relationship. The moment they stopped expecting you to show up. The moment they accepted that they'd have to heal alone. They didn't scream. They didn't ask for more. They simply stopped hoping that you'd notice. And so, life goes on. You talk about your day. You sit next to each other. You share a bed. But between you is a silence that no longer aches, because it has learned to settle. You think silence means peace, but sometimes silence is just pain that gave up trying to speak. People don't always leave because they've stopped loving. Sometimes they leave because they've realized they're the only ones trying to keep something alive. And by the time you finally ask, "Is something wrong?" they're already gone. Not physically, but emotionally, spiritually. Completely. The person you hurt might not leave with anger, but they will leave with silence. And that silence, it's not peace, it's not forgiveness, it's not strength. It's what happens when someone realizes you were never really listening. You thought everything was fine. They still smiled. They still came home. They still sat beside you. But did you ever really look? Did you notice when their smile no longer reached their eyes? When their voice lost its color? When they stopped mentioning the little things they used to love? Kind people don't slam the door. They don't scream, "I'm done." They simply stop showing up. Not physically, but emotionally. They stop reminding you, stop correcting you, stop waiting for you to notice. And when that happens, you haven't just lost a relationship. You've lost the chance to heal something real while it was still alive. Because the truth is, when someone starts to feel lonely inside a relationship, that's the beginning of the end. And when the silence becomes their only voice, they're not trying to punish you. They're trying to survive. The cruelest part about losing someone kind is not watching them walk away. It's realizing you never thought they would. You assumed their patience would last forever, that their silence meant forgiveness, that their gentle presence was guaranteed. But it wasn't. They stayed longer than most would. They gave more than most could. And when they left, they didn't shout. They didn't accuse. They didn't make you the villain. They just stopped being yours. And that's the kind of goodbye that lingers. Not because it was loud, but because it was honest. You see, when someone still fights with you, they still care. But when they fall silent, that's when love has already packed its bags. And by the time you realize it, by the time you finally see the emptiness in their eyes, feel the space in the bed, notice the quiet where laughter used to live, they're already healing without you. Carl Jung once said, "People will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own souls." And that's what we do, isn't it? We avoid, we delay, we pretend everything is fine, until the silence becomes permanent. And as Machiavelli warned, kindness without strength is often ignored. We take gentle people for granted because they don't demand attention, until one day they stop offering it altogether. If there's still someone beside you, someone who used to smile more, laugh louder, speak softer, please don't wait for their silence to become the end of your story. Check in, look closer, listen, truly listen, not to reply, not to fix, but just to be there. Ask how they are. Notice the shift in their tone. Remember what used to light them up. And ask why it's gone dim. Because most love doesn't vanish in one big storm. It fades. With each day, we forget to show up. With each glance, we stop giving. With each moment, we choose distraction over presence. You don't need the perfect words. You don't need to undo everything. Sometimes all it takes is one real moment, to show them they're still seen. So if you love someone, say it. If you've hurt someone, own it. And if someone has gone quiet, go gently toward them while you still can. Because once they've chosen to walk away, even the loudest apology may only echo behind a closing door.